Hey, I'm Kurt Thompson, and you are looking at the Regiment 800 Bugle. I've had a couple of people request me to do some bugle calls, and I thought, oh my goodness, I haven't done a lot of bugle stuff since probably high school. The only thing I've done after that would be to play taps at different military and law enforcement funerals. So I got this on Amazon. I thought this is a pretty all-encompassing book. And I'll read out the title for you, Manual for Buglers. And I thought it was pretty fascinating. It said originally produced by the U.S. Navy. So this is the real deal. It gives you the history of bugles and buglers and even different marches and a lot of the stuff that you'd be required to play if you go into the military, which, of course, as you might have guessed, a lot of that stuff kind of carries over to Boy Scouts and stuff like that. You know, there's buglers in the Boy Scouts. So I thought, well, let me just grab a bugle off of Amazon and give her a review, test her out. And so this Regiment one was not bad. I paid about 60 bucks or so, give or take, which is not bad. Now, I would call this like your standard bugle, kind of basic standard bugle. It's decent for the money. Now they have some professional bugles that go for around $200 to $250. Years ago, I played one of those, and those actually are probably the best if you can afford it. Most folks that are not in the military making their living playing a bugle probably don't need to go out and spend $200 or $300 for a professional bugle. Something like this would work if you're out on a hike or out on a march. Maybe you're even in the National Guard. I mean, this would be plenty good for that. If you play taps from time to time, maybe you're a veteran. Or if you're in the Boy Scouts, something like that. So this kind of fits the bill for that. It's not a perfect bugle, but it's decent enough for what we need to do, unless you're making your living at it. Then I would go ahead and invest 3 bills, you know, 300 bucks in a professional bugle. This bugle is pitched in G, where trumpet is pitched in B flat, the typical trumpet. So you'll notice that it's they kind of hold your hand a little bit too. So some of the stuff that might seem high for some old timers who don't play much, or for younger students who don't have much range, I mean, this makes it a little bit easier. So you're not really going up to G, for example, on some of the higher notes, higher noted drills and marches. You're going up, you'd be going down a minor third. So you'd be going, your highest note might be what, an E, something like that. So that kind of makes it easier too. So for those of you who don't play much and you just want to get it out from time to time and play at a ceremony, or for those of you who just don't have a very good range, this helps out because it's pitched a minor third lower, 3 half steps lower than your typical B flat trumpet. And as you can see, it comes with the mouthpiece, so you don't even have to worry about having a mouthpiece. If you've been kind of out of the loop, it's got its mouthpiece right there. I've actually tried this mouthpiece and then my Pro mouthpiece. I kind of like my Pro mouthpiece a bit better. Just it seems like it resonates the bugle a little bit more for my taste. So anyway, if you're interested at all in bugle, if you're in the not Cub Scouts, if you're in the Boy Scouts and you have aspirations to play for your troops, or if you're in the National Guard, and if you're a veteran, like I said, you try to think of any other capacity, or maybe you're just interested in bugle and you thought you'd like to start on bugle before you get involved with trumpet, which of course has more complexity with the valves and stuff like that. You could just start honking on the bugle, and for not much money, this is what, 60 bucks? I mean, not much money, you can get a taste of what it's like to play a brass instrument. And should you decide that you really want to get more involved, then you can start spending the big bucks and buy a trumpet or a trombone or a tuba. And this book is really a classy book. And how many pages did it have? It had a good, where is it? About 80 pages. And near the back, you can see that they have all the different drills and marches that you'd have to do. And they kind of give an explanation of what's going on in there. I like it. I'll probably, maybe going forward, I might be doing some of these just for like demonstrations, maybe even on the trumpet. I'm not sure if I'll always have this guy out, but I might do some of these because people have asked me to do that. But today, A couple of common bugle calls would be, let me see if I can, I'm just going to go on memory now. I don't have the music. I mean, the music section here. So I suppose if I wanted to scan and then blow it up to at least about an 8x7 and print it out, I mean, then I would have the music, and I might do that on some of these that I don't know that well. Let's see, let me get my bearings on this because this is a G bugle, minor third down from B flat. That might be a good starting note. Yeah, that's right. You probably know that one, To the Colors. Pretty common when they're getting the flag going and all that kind of stuff. So, oh, what's another one? If you've ever been in the military, you probably have heard this either by a live bugler or more often today, unfortunately, because a lot of times they don't have a musician. You might hear it blaring over a loudspeaker about 4 a.m. You've heard that, all right? Okay, probably. So, if you've had any involvement in Boy Scouts or military, anything like that, undoubtedly you've heard that when you didn't want to hear it. When you're in the middle of a dream, fast asleep, maybe it was cold and dark outside, and they're screaming at you to get your butt out of the bunk and get dressed. So, the other one, of course, tends to be played at the end of the day and also at the end of somebody's life. In law enforcement, police will tend to have a bugler come by and play taps. Just about any veteran's funeral, they'll have somebody come by and do taps. Yeah, of course, this one's easier to do because you don't have to hit the high G like you would on trumpet. You're only going to be hitting an E. So for some of you, that may make a difference in whether you decide to take the initiative and jump in and do this. Others of you may be a little bit shy. You might shy away knowing that in front of a bunch of people or behind a bush, wherever you play taps, that you might be sweating that high G. Taps. Okay. I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can go get this bugle right away. I didn't even pay shipping for it. Got it in a couple days. It's the Regiment Bugle. Did I get it right? Yeah, the Regiment 800 Bugle. The Regiment 800. I didn't see a different model by Regiment, but anyway, it's the Regiment 800 Bugle. Comes with a mouthpiece, pitched in G. And the other thing I'll leave a link for if you're interested, even if you're not really desiring to play the bugle right now, but you just want to feed your brain a little bit of some of the history, and maybe even take a look at some of the bugle calls that are the real deal. These are the real bugle calls that you would have to play or you would hear if you were in the military. You might want to go out and check this book. It's a nice historical collection of anecdotal stories and history of the bugler. in the armed forces. So I'll leave the 2 links for these. I'm Kurt Thompson, and I will catch you in my next review.